already have a huge TBR because it's Pride Month, but let's see, how many books should I read? And whatever it is, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to try. I am nothing if not influenced. So since I did that TikTok, and now I'm planning to read 15 books in June. Hi, welcome to my channel. Let's talk about all the books I want to read this month. To be honest, I have already planned my TBR because it's Pride Month and I'm so excited. I have so many videos and posts and everything. Like, I'm going to be all over everywhere. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan. I believe in the universe guiding me and things being in alignment. And I had actually planned this video beforehand and I planned to read 10 books. And I left 5 other books that I was maybe going to read just to have some options because I'm a mood reader, so I never know in which mood I'm going to be in the future. And after creating that list, I actually did the TikTok I showed and the universe told me 15 books, so I'm literally going to be reading everything on my list. Most of them are contemporary, so I'm not too scared, but I have a tendency to always overestimate how much I can get done actually in a month. We'll see if it happens. Let's start with the list. I actually am planning on only reading queer books this month. I tried to make this list with as many representation as I could find because I'm always reading sapphic stories mostly, so I want to read other things. And the first book I have is actually Lake Lore. This book is just beautiful everywhere. Both of these main characters are non-binary. You know me, I don't go into books knowing too much, but I know this is fantasy and it's involving a lake. Like, one of these characters lives under there, like a mermaid, I think. So I'm very interested to know what this book is actually about. The second book I'm going to be reading is The Lila Green Doesn't Care. This book is everywhere in all the sapphic lists. And the only reason I haven't read this book before is because the main character is a single mother. And whenever I hear that phrase, it reminds me of my own mother. And I don't want to read a romance where I'm reminded of her, which is kind of dumb because I have read other books with single mothers as main characters. And I never picture my mom in those books because, like, I forget about her when I'm reading about these characters that are so different from her. But it always takes me a little bit of courage because there is the possibility that this character is like my mom. And then what? I don't know. I'm still looking forward to reading this book because so many people loved it. The main character, the Lila, goes back to her old town and there she falls in love with her sister's friend, and that friend is the single mother. Next, I'm going to be reading The Secret Summer Promise. This is an arc I received. It's about a main character. She last summer spent her entire time in bed recovering from a surgery she had because she has cerebral palsy. So this summer she has decided she is going to create a list and do all the adventures she can think of and just have fun. And the final item on that list is to fall out of love with her best friend. I want to read this not only because friends to lovers is the ultimate best trope ever, but also because I already miss summer so much. Like, I'm trying my hardest to romanticize winter and, try to be positive, but you look outside the window and it's gloomy and it's dark and it's cloudy, and the only thing you want to do is get back in bed and read your book. Like, I guess it's going to be helpful for my reading challenge, all of this, but not for my productivity. Next, we have Pedro and Daniel. This is an arc I also received, and Pedro and Daniel are brothers. Both of them are gay and neurodivergent, and they are growing up as Mexican American in Ohio in 1970s. And this is going to be one of the most serious books I read. It's just because it deals with what these guys go through. It has a few trigger warnings. I like reading stories like this where you actually get to see reality and what people go through. This year has been teaching me that I really enjoy reading about religious trauma. I wonder why. And this book clearly has that. Next, I'm going to read Emojin, obviously. The queer books have amazing covers. I love it. This book I'm on the fence about. Like, it could go really bad or it could go amazing. It's about our main protagonist, Emojin. She's an ally of the queer community and she has her best friend that is queer. And that best friend is in college, so she goes to visit her. And that's where she finds out that that friend has told the entire college, or at least her friends, that Emojin and her used to date. So now she has to pretend to like girls, but I'm sure at some point she is going to realize that faking liking girls it's not that hard for her because it is a sapphic book. By Becky Bertali, I think I only read the Homo sapiens agenda and I didn't really like it. Like it was fine, but it wasn't a 5-star. And also one of my friends, Julie, told me that she gave this book a 3 stars because she wasn't impressed. And Julie and I, we almost always have the same opinions on books. So now I'm like, I'm still going to read it. I want to know for myself, but I don't have high hopes. Now, Cemetery Boys. Like, I don't know why I haven't read this book before. It is Latinx. The main protagonist is a trans boy, and he is a brujo. That already amazing. But then our main protagonist, he summons a ghost because he wants to talk with his cousin that was murdered. But instead he summons the school bad boy that it seems it recently died. And that ghost asks him to help him find out what happened and who killed him because no one knows. So they start in that journey, and it says that at one point, our main protagonist is actually realizing that he doesn't want to let the ghost pass because he's falling in love. Like, this book sounds amazing. My issue is that I keep reading the new books I add to my TBR instead of actually looking through my TBR and find the books that I've been wanting to read for the longest time, like this one. So this month I'm fixing it. Talking about books that just made it to my TBR, we have Forget Me Not. This book is by one of the authors of She Gets the Girl, one of my favorite books. It's about our main protagonist. She has a girlfriend, but then she got an accident and she forgot everything. So now she thinks she's still dating her ex, a boy, and basically forgot everything she felt for her girlfriend, accepting she liked girls. She has to go through all of that again, and her girlfriend is just there. Like, her girlfriend must be feeling like shit. And I feel like this book is going to make me cry. Between this and Pedro and Daniel, this is going to be definitely an emotional month. And I'm still here for it. Like, let's get in touch with my emotions. Next, we have Spellbound. This book is about these two sorcerers, and they are in competing teams. Like, Brooke, the main protagonist, works for a woman, and then the other guy works for a man. This is fantasy, so it was a bit harder for me to understand just by the synopsis, but they are an agency that detects illegal magic use, I think. And both of them are trying to do that, and they are competing against each other. And then one day, the woman that Brooke is apprentice for disappears. So he goes to the other guy, and there's where he realizes this guy's mentor also disappeared. So now they have to work together to find out what happened to them and try to find them, or they lose everything. Next, we have Stay Gold. I'm so excited about this book. I saw recently Bren posted a video and they were recommending this book, and it reminded me that I have had this book in my TBR also for such a long time, since it came out. This book is about our main protagonist. He is a trans boy and he changes school because in his old school people knew who he was before he transitioned and he came out, and he wasn't comfortable there. So now he wants a fresh start in this new school, and he wants to go under the radar. And in that new school, there is a cheerleader who also wants to go under the radar and not date, not be on the spotlight anymore. But they meet and they realize it's hard to not want to spend time with each other. And it sounds so cute. I feel like this book is going to be just the romance between these two characters, and I'm so happy for them. I do have to say I'm a bit scared because it is mentioned that they lock eyes and immediately know, and that is insta-love, and we do not support insta-love in this house. So we'll see. I'm still so excited to just see, like a queer couple just being happy and lovely. Next we have I Wish You All the Best. This book is about our main protagonists. They are non-binary and they came out to their family, and their family kicked them out of their house, and they decide to also have a low profile in high school, but it's hard to do when a guy decides to take them under his wing. It says this book is about friendship and love and finding happiness through hardships. Then we have You Don't Have a Shot. This book recently came out and it's by Raquel Marie. I also have her other book on my TBR, but I want to read this one first just because it involves soccer girls, and like, do I know anything else about this book? No. Do I care? Also no. Like, just put sapphic soccer players, I'll be there. I'll be there. Another book that has been years on my TBR is Felix Ever After. Felix Ever After is about a main character. He is a trans boy and he is trying to find the love of his life, but at the same time, he is in high school and a bully posted on Facebook his dead name and pictures before he transitioned. So now he's planning a revenge, but it is said that that revenge lands him on a quasi love triangle. I don't know what happened there, how we went from planning a revenge to a love triangle. Hopefully, this boy doesn't fall for his bully, because it is said on the synopsis that this book is about finding and realizing the love that you actually deserve. So maybe he does fall and then realizes that's not okay or like not healthy. Hell Followed With Us is another book I'm not planning on looking up what it is about. Like, I don't want to know. A lot of people have told me that this book is the definition of religious trauma. And like I said, I want to read that. It could be fantasy because of the cover. It could not. I don't know. I'm still going to read it. Next, I'm going to be reading We Are the Ants. I feel like this is the book that has been on my TBR the longest. And it's about this guy that has been abducted by aliens every single year for a long time. And now they have offered to end the world for him. Like, the only thing he has to do is press a button the next time they come for him. So he is trying to make the decision if he wants the world to continue or just destroy it all. It says her mom is a struggling waitress. His boyfriend committed suicide, so he's dealing with all of that. His brother is jobless. So there are a lot of things that are going wrong. But I feel like this book is going to have that hopeful message I like, where they see everything that is going wrong, but they also start realizing everything that is right or good or that deserves saving. Lastly, we have Pet. This is another book that has been everywhere and I really want to read. It's about this little girl that summons or gets in contact with a monster. And I've seen people say this book is about this monster protecting her and just treating this child so nicely, even though they are monsters. But I also, from the synopsis, got the feeling that the monster isn't actually going to be a monster, but a little kid imaginations of something that is supposed to be a monster, because it says people don't want to see that. So another probably emotional read. So those are all the books I'm going to be reading this month. Like, I'm going to read these 15 books. If you made it this far, leave me the rainbow emoji, of course. And also let me know, have you read any of these books? What queer books are you going to be reading this month? Like I said, I already have so much content planned and filmed, so you are going to have 2 videos per week this coming month. I hope you enjoy them. I am really in love with them. But yeah, I will see you on Friday.